Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Sam Dever Podcast, episode 80. In this episode, I speak with actor, director, and producer Kenny Yates. Kenny is a great friend and a huge supporter of this podcast, and it was an awesome time having him on tonight as this was our last podcast of 2023, and this will be airing in 2024. The book of the episode is going to be The One Thing by Gary Keller. I'm calling this my personal book of the year for 2023. It's a phenomenal book, very well written, reads very smoothly with lots of great information on focusing on the one thing you need to do to get to where you want to go. I mean, especially in a world of distraction, it's so easy to have multiple projects going, 10 million browsers open on your computer, and we never get done the things that we really need to get done. So I thought this would be a great book of the episode. It's The One Thing by Gary Keller. If you want to listen to the podcast, be sure to follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you want to watch the podcast, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@thesamdeverpodcast. Happy New Year to all of you, and here's my conversation with Kenny.
How crazy is that? Good on McDonald's, right? They're such an American brand that they're willing to like try and collab things like based on whatever America is into. So it's like, I mean, that's pretty solid marketing.
I remember like down the street here, and again, I'm speaking completely out of context. I have no idea what the story is, but the McDonald's that's now there, which is like 2 stories high.
I just drove by it to get here.
That during COVID times, like that was like torn down. They tore it down. And I said, I'm like, there's no way in heck they're getting rid of that McDonald's. Because McDonald's, a lot of the reason they became so wealthy was the real estate. They bought all this real estate everywhere.
Did you ever see that movie, The Founder?
Incredible.
How good was that movie?
It's one of my favorite Michael Keaton movies. Probably.
He was so good in that movie.
So good in that movie.
It was incredible.
And also gave you a good perspective of Ray Kroc. Like that dude, I mean, hate him or love him, like was focused on the goal and was willing to do whatever to.
I know, man. I have like, you can't but respect people who have the business mind sometimes for stuff that's bigger than your own vision, right? To be able to envision that sort of like plan. And I know like the story is obviously meant to show him in a slightly negative light about how he was a ruthless businessman. And that's where it starts to toe the line, go over the line of what you should do to and for people, right? But like that idea to have a vision and to be able to execute it and scale it to a certain way, that is an art, and that's something that you have to be dedicated to. But there's ways to do it and there's ways not to do it, obviously. But you got to have admiration for some people who do it the correct way with the people who work for them and take care of their people, but also can scale their company at like massive scale.
Yeah,
I think about that when the movie stuff that I do, like the movie stuff that I do for like. At such a small scale, minimal scale right now, I just think like, man, I'm constantly thinking about, I posted a thing on my Instagram today, like where I feel like I'm in a hard place in the middle of like trying to deal.
I love that.
Yeah. Dealing with like the being proud of myself, but also, man, I got to get to the work, right? Like get back to it as fast as possible and just keep grinding and try to figure out what the next thing is. It's something I struggle with for sure. I can't think of, and it's maybe the planning. It's the planning is everything, but what is it? What did Roosevelt say? The planning is everything, but the plan is nothing, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but it's an interesting thing where it's like you do what's important is that you plan, but the plan is not important. Right? That's basically summing it up. And I just feel like I need to in the new year. You asked me earlier what my New Year's resolution is. It's probably how do I learn to plan and plan more effectively is probably what my New Year's resolution is. Because I feel like, I don't know what we're going to talk about today.
Oh,
by the way.
It's going to go anywhere. Thank you to Eric Sarich, by the way, for these chocolates.
Thanks, Eric.
You're welcome.
Chocolates look good. I also brought, this is not of a sponsorship.
Not sponsorship yet.
Because I figured we'd both be very classy looking.
You look phenomenal, by the way.
You look phenomenal.
I almost had to go back and change.
Look at this pin, by the way. I love this pin.
Shout out to Ty for the pin.
Thanks, Ty. I thought we were going to be very classy, so I brought potato chips that are caviar-flavored potato chips.
Which I didn't know existed.
And foie gras-flavored potato chips. So I've tried the foie gras of these, and they were very delicious. I have not tried the caviar chips.
Where do you get these?
Well, when I got the foie gras chips, I got them at this little French patisserie that had like a little savory section. But convenient for you, when I went to go get our sparkling waters at the place right down the street,
Yeah.
it was called Vendome or something.
Okay.
They had these there. So if you like them, you can class this joint up real quick because it's right down the street.
So are we doing this now? Is this something we should do now?
Let's do it now because I
Okay.
feel like we're gonna get into.
We got a lot to talk about.
We got a lot
so
to talk
maybe let's
about.
get this out of the way.
Let's try. I'll
Do
try
you
the
want to open a
caviar
bag
first.
and I open a bag? And
You try the foie
Eric, you're
gras
gonna have
first.
You want?
Oh yeah, I definitely want to try it.
Oh wow, they do smell interesting. Eric.
Oh, I've
Yeah,
never
I'll be
tried
first.
the caviar one.
Yeah, Eric goes first. So which one's this? This is the.
Oh.
Right.
That's interesting. That tastes good. That just tastes like a chip.
So foie gras. Foie gras. Like what is this supposed to be? Like,
Foie gras, isn't that like a duck liver like delicacy or something?
it's like pate.
I don't know.
Oh,
Kenny, let me try one of those caviars.
Have a
Please.
caviar.
Please.
it's got a good amount of protein in it too.
These aren't bad. These just taste like chips.
This is different.
I'll trade you. I like the foie gras better. Yeah. I like the foie gras better.
Yeah, agreed.
That's good. That is a tasty chip.
Wow.
I think the caviar would be good if I didn't know it was caviar.
You totally could be sponsoring a chip, man. That is a tasty chip. Like
I don't know how to say it in French, but that is a tasty chip. I would say it in French if I could. I don't know how to speak French though. I don't know too much French. I know two languages, English and bad English.
And you know what? I'm gonna have one of these chocolates that
Yeah.
Eric so kindly brought.
I like that we're turning the Sam Dever podcast into a food show.
Yeah.
This is the kind of podcast I wanted to have the first time. I wanted to just be us having a conversation, talking about a few things. I want to just have I want to have a fun show with you today.
This is what that is, man.
Okay, good. Because last time I was very serious. I was very, like I was saying before.
We had to get that out of the way, though.
Yeah, I feel like it's an interesting part of my life.
You set the foundation.
Yeah, right. This is the sequel to that podcast, and
This is Emperor Strikes Back.
right. Right. I feel like we're both dressed for cold weather. We're starting in the snow. It's gonna be a great episode. So,
yeah, man. And I'm just gonna say, well, we'll just kind of do this as we go along. But I have something else for you.
Oh, what?
The official The Sam Dever Podcast hat for you.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah. We talked about this on the last podcast.
Yeah.
We talked about putting your logo on it,
Yeah.
your face on it. The shot of you. This looks great, man.
Yeah. Just
Dude,
something.
I
Just
love a
playing around.
nice,
You can-
crispy white hat. You
You
wear
got
white
one.
hats?
I used to wear white.
You know
hats.
who wears white hats?
Who?
This guy.
Oh,
Last
he
time I
does.
hung out with him, we shot an episode. We shot part of a pilot episode for a reality show that we're hopefully will go a couple nights ago. A week ago? When was it? A week ago?
Yeah, Saturday.
He was wearing this awesome white LaCroix hat. It was
I
sick.
think I've seen that hat.
It was sick. It was a good hat. Am I putting this on now?
Oh, you can. I know you have a good hair day going on.
I am
too,
having a
so-
good hair day today.
So we can say
I had to look directly into the camera for that part. Eric's gonna edit like a little star over my head.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, I should just sit here like this the whole thing. Just keep my arm up like an Oktoberfest competition.
Well, man, I just gotta say your enthusiasm. When I ran into you last weekend at the Playhouse.
Yeah, it was a great show.
Spoon. Yeah, it was a great show. Shout out
That
to
was a
both
great
Bodison
show.
and everyone. The Spoon River show. Just having that short exchange with you and talk and just feeding. You have such a good energy, man. And
Thanks, man.
in regard, well, I want to get to everything you're doing right now, but like in regards to the podcast, man, you've been such a huge supporter of this, and I can't tell you how many times. I mean, you've sent messages like you'll just send something simple like a text. You've sent it to either both of us or me and been like, "Hey, man, just that episode was awesome." Or I know one time you sent a message like, "Do you guys realize how many hours of content you guys have put up now?"
Yeah.
And then it's like you don't think about it when you're doing it. You're just like burn and
No.
turn, burn and turn, burn and turn. And dude, it's as you know, and I wanted to get into this. I've been having this conversation with a lot of people I feel that are all in our age range, like mid to late 30s. been doing stuff for a while, and it's like it kind of becomes it can become a lonely space in a way.
Yeah.
Because you get past that age where, I'll just speak for myself, but like where it's different when you're like your mid-20s or something. Like, oh, you're young, go for it.
Yeah, it's
like,
sexy then.
Go for your dreams. Like, look at him going for it. But then when you get like to mid to late 30s, it's like, hey, bud, like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, you gonna go get a real job, or it's like, so it's like you don't need like people always patting on you on the back, but you also sometimes you just need a little boost. Like, so I thank you for that, because you've given those little boosts and taken the time to listen to something or just give some feedback and support. It means a lot, man. So
Well,
thank you.
thanks for saying that to me. Like,
Yeah.
truthfully, I mean, I respect you so much, and Eric too, for what you guys are putting, the effort and the energy and the time that it takes to put one of these together. Not a lot of people understand how long and how much energy and how much effort it takes to go into this and
Yeah.
get it up. And it's not just because I'm just want to like, I'm not just patting you on the back, right? I thoroughly enjoy every episode I watch. You have great conversations with people. I mean, if you're not subscribed already, subscribe. I mean, I don't understand what you're doing if you're not subscribed. There's so much great information, and people come on here and they're so open and so truthful. And there's so many podcasts that are just so dumb. They talk about stuff, but nobody's really honest, vulnerable, truthful. Nobody talks about anything, right? And everybody that comes on here does that. They're being their most authentic self and that's a testament to you and the work you guys do and the way you're able to pull those conversations out of people and the way you make people feel comfortability wise. It's the crux of your show, right? Truthfully, it is what makes your show so good is the ability to just make people feel comfortable so that they can talk and be themselves. And that's when it comes to life. And it's kudos to you. It's so easy for me to send those messages because I'm literally just a fan of the show. I watch all of them. So I'm just happy to be here. So thanks so much for that. And it's true what you said too. As we get to a certain point in our lives, and I'm going through a metamorphosis, transformative stage in my life, lots of changes. And what I'm struggling with is exactly what you talked about right now. Like that idea that I'm supposed to be living a life that is more traditional according to other people. I'm supposed to be living a life that's more along the lines of what everybody is supposed to be doing right now. And that it's really messing with my head, And it's messing with and I wanted to talk about this today too, actually, my feelings of self-worth and self-esteem and what I'm supposed to be and where I'm supposed to be and how much money I'm supposed to have and all of that stuff, because I'm no spring chicken anymore. And like you said, it's super sexy to be involved in the industry we are when you're in your 20s and you're just grinding and it's fun and you meet people and it's exciting and you have all the energy and you can get up for work after a long bender night of partying and not have an issue. But now when you can feel your knees and you can feel your back and you can feel your head after a long night of drinking, that's when it really starts to put you to the test and say, do you really want this? Do you really want this? Because it's hard. It's a hard business. And that's kind of what I'm going through right now. And I'm feeling like you could call it a midlife crisis, I guess. I mean, I don't know how many years I got left, but, I'm almost 40. So it's different feeling. It feels like I am truthfully facing, well, what do I want in the next 5 years? Because it's going to dictate what happens for the rest of my life. And so I'm so glad you brought that up because I've really been going through that a lot. And this hides a lot, hides a lot of it for sure. Hides a lot of it for sure.
Man, I don't even want to say anything because you're just on a roll. Like, it's like, I'm just, as you're talking, I'm like, clip.
Yeah, right.
Clip.
Yeah.
I mean, but no, thank you for the compliment of the podcast first and
Yeah.
foremost. Dude. That means a lot. And yeah, I mean, what you just said, yeah, no, dude, you just nailed it. Like you do start to question your own reality a little bit. Like maybe I'm maybe I'm just the only one that sees it like this. Maybe everyone around me's right. Maybe I am like dicking around or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever. And
right.
it's like what's crazy. And I mean, you do. I mean, man, when I was watching one of your latest films, it looks so sexy, man. When I see a Kenny Yates film, like I'm already used to it now. And
Yeah.
I'm watching your films, man. I'm just like, dude, these are so good. Like,
Thanks, man.
this is something I would pull up on Netflix or whatever, and just would be amongst all the other great movies that are on there. And I'm like, oh yeah, that was a good but it's like so much of society in the world attaches your self-worth to the money you make off things
Mm-hmm.
and do. And that's what I think, when I was growing up in the Midwest and I looked at entertainment and movies and music, I'm like, oh yeah, you go out there and then you do those things and you make a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And, I never did anything big in movies or music or anything. I did stuff, but even doing this though, like you do it to like, oh man, I think I'm kind of doing this at a decent level. And you just realize like, you're not making money, you're putting money in. And
Right.
for it to keep going, like you have to keep doing it. Like
Yes.
there's no guaranteed return on anything you do.
Nope.
Artistically, especially even now today, just as much.
And you know what that is too? That's the comparison brain, right? That's you. Well, one, because you produce this show, right? So that's your producer brain saying, well, when is this actually going to give me returns on what I enjoy doing? And that's what I struggle with too. It's that like, who are we comparing? You're probably comparing it to the best podcasts out in the world, right? For this project. I know you have lots of different projects, but this project in particular, everybody's comparing themselves, but to Joe Rogan, right? In theory, right? Because he's got he's the podcast guy, right? He is. Whether you like him or not, whatever you think of what his opinions are on things, I mean, that's a major podcast, right? And then for me, it's like for the stuff I've been doing, the movie stuff, because again, like I said, we all have different projects, but for the movie stuff, I'm always comparing myself to like big blockbuster movies, and I'm like, I can't do that. Like, and that's another thing I'm trying to struggle with and change in the new year too, is just like that idea of comparison, but really, it's just like I need to focus more on the art of it, right? The art of it. And I know that there is no return. There is no, I got to find the stuff that I'm really artistically drawn to, artistically passionate about, things that really feel like I'm doing what I should be doing. And it's just that idea that you have to constantly be living the other person life just to maintain the ability to do your artistic life is the thing that makes most people quit their art entirely. And that's the part that really it makes me sad, is it's like, you don't ever have to quit your art. If you start to lean into the regular person life and lean into the stability of money and doing what that side of things more, it doesn't mean you have to give up the art side. But for us as trying to be artistic professionals, it's like you have to live a touch of that other person's life, that as much as you need to stay alive and stay going and doing for as long as you can until maybe your art pays off, maybe. But then if it doesn't, you have to be okay at the end of the day that your art that you've chosen is good for you. You've expressed yourself enough to feel like you've had a successful career in that. Money aside, if you've expressed yourself artistically in a way that makes you feel fulfilled, that's truthfully what the art is for. And then the rest either will come or it won't. The money of it will come or it won't. So you have to get the fulfillment from the art. And that's definitely something, after my most recent film experience, how I want to be thinking, and I want to do everything I can to just live that other person's life as much as possible and tie it back to entertainment as much as possible, so at least I can enjoy myself. But yeah, that's definitely another New Year's resolution for me, but is focus more on what makes me feel artistic and passionate and pick those projects, if possible.
Well, you nailed it on the head, man. Like you're right. Like you should, at the end of the day, enjoy what you're doing. I'm sure like when you see that final edit of your film at a premiere or whatever, you're just like, you know?
Yeah.
And you enjoy, I'm sure, the process of it too. Same thing with doing this. It's like once I'm sitting down, like even in this moment with you right now, having this conversation and watching you just drop knowledge, it's like, man, no, I love this. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Chris Leby said something along the lines of, I'm paraphrasing him, but pretty much like happiness and all that, it can kind of be a myth because doing your purpose and passion doesn't mean you're going to be happy doing it the whole time. Because like what you just said, that might mean like, okay, I got to do this over here to make this movie.
Right.
I got to keep doing this over here to keep doing podcasts. It's like you do those things because it's necessary to keep the art going. And I always ask like, what's the alternative? Well, the alternative is you're going to just quit. And stop doing it.
That's what you said the last time we talked,
so.
Actually, because I had said that I'd rather be stressed than depressed thing, and you said at the time you were saying, "Oh, what's the alternative?" And I loved that too, and I thought about that the other day actually, because I rewatched our talk, so I knew remember what we talked about. But I thought about that too. What is the alternative, right? What else are you going to do? Like all you can do is know what's truthful to you and do your best at either doing that or something that helps you do more of that, right? You have to trust the gut. You have to trust what your heart is telling you and be logical about it. Of course, like we talked about that the last time too. Like you have to do what you have to do to get there. But if you can work in that those jobs that you do has something to do with that, you know, if you were trying to be an actor, maybe you take a gig at like an acting school, or you take a gig at some school or some high school that needs a teacher's assistant, and then you do the drama thing. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a filmmaker, you can start making freelance videos, or you can get a job at a video post house or something, you know, like things that sort of infuse, just try to find a gig that gets you at least in the entertainment door. And then you can do that kind of stuff more and more and meet people.
Get you around that energy.
Yeah, at least keeps you in the world.
Yeah.
And LA is good for that.
That's true.
New York is good for that. And, you know, if you're in a place where you're not in one of those places, it's harder to get those jobs, but maybe you make those jobs for yourself. Start small, and, you know, that's what I did. I started very small video stuff. Very, very small. Still not like huge now, but, you know, bigger. But that's just a compilation of all the compounding work that I put out.
It's funny now when I see your name on the screen title, again, a Kenny Yates film. It's like kind of like DJ Khaled or or something like that.
And another one.
And another one, yeah. Yeah, but it's like, man, like I think about, now that I've gotten to know you better, the journey you have taken to get to that position.
I don't think about that actually. I should think about it more.
Yeah, like I mean, you've earned that spot. You know what I mean? Like you've earned that spot, man. And you mentioned it earlier, and you were talking to me about it when I saw you in person. But your recent film experience, acting, correct?
Yeah, producing and acting.
And you said it was life-changing. So could you take us into that?
It's still, we wrapped production almost 3 weeks ago at the point of this recording this show. And it's still difficult to explain. I still haven't fully articulated what it was or why it was or how it was. But it was truthfully transformative for me. It was a life-changing experience. And so just to catch your audience up, the movie that we made, it was a wonderful script written by my friend, becoming one of my best friends and producing partner, Kip Tribble, who I told you should get on this show. And I should introduce you guys because he should be here. You would love to hear his story. He's a longtime independent filmmaker who is going through that same transformative moment with me because of this movie. And he's made so many movies, and he's got a really interesting story about a movie that he made that maybe he'll share, but I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, he wrote this script, and it's called Before Never. And so Peter Pan, the book, is in public domain now. So we decided we were going to write a movie about it. And so it's about a modern day contemporary version of Peter Pan, Captain Hook, Smee, Wendy, the whole Darling family. And it's not like a origin story, but it's more like a slightly origin, but like a retelling of those characters. And so Wendy Darling is attacked one night, and and the only witness and the only person there at the time to protect her is Peter Pan. And so he takes a hit on the head, and Mr. Smee is a former detective who gets hired by the Darling family to investigate her attack. And so because Peter gets hit in the head, he doesn't remember anything. So Smee hires his friend, James Pierpoint, who later becomes Hook, who is a hypnotherapist. And so Hook basically does hypnotherapy on Peter Pan to try to figure out what happened that night. So it's kind of like a crime thriller unfolding sort of thing. But it's got all these characters that have all the same sort of backstories, but just totally fleshed out in a way that feels like an origin story. And it's darker and it's modern and it's kind of gritty and it's just really cool script. Really cool script. And I'm so blessed to be a part of it. But yeah, that movie was pretty awesome. Yeah, pretty awesome. Do you want me to just go into I can tell you all about it. I can keep going. Like, well, I honestly feel like I play Peter Pan. I play the slightly older, modern version of Peter Pan. Yeah.
If I could just interject one question, like, what was that like to go into such an iconic character? And for anyone who doesn't know, public domain, and for my own reassurance of it, public domain means anyone can do anything with it, right?
Yeah,
without infringing on copyright.
I think it's like 98 years or something. It's like or I can't remember, but Kip did all that research. Good on him for figuring that out because he jumped on it. It's but yeah, basically a certain amount, artwork can't have a copyright on it after a certain amount of years, I think.
So anyone can use it.
Right.
Yeah, I actually did a one-act play with Ford, Moonshine.
Oh, okay.
That we did. I believe that was the same. We didn't have to get rights or anything because it was public. It had been around for so long.
Yeah, great.
Like you can just. So okay.
So yeah, so that's basically the book of Peter Pan is now in public domain.
Okay.
And the rights for a long time were with a hospital in London. He had J.M. Barrie, the author of the book, had donated the rights basically to this hospital, this children's hospital, so that they could basically get money to support the hospital for any endeavors that get like any.
So
Peter Pan
Disney,
things.
when they were using it from
probably
that's interesting.
They basically were probably paying the hospital, but so. Part of what we're going to do is when we release the movie, we're going to give a little bit to that hospital since there's no public domain. We technically don't have to give them anything, but we want to still keep that up. So once the movie actually comes out, some of the profits are going to go back to that hospital.
Very cool.
But yeah, man. So I get to play Peter Pan, and I didn't think about that sort of stepping into an iconic role part of it until we had finished filming. Me and Kip sat down and I kid you not when I tell you it was such a transformative experience the night we were wrapping, because we only had like one night to wrap out. We cried, a lot of us cried all day. It was so transformative. And it was on that day that we realized we just played some of the most iconic characters ever. Like who gets to say that in their acting career, except for like the top tier people?
I mean, Hook with Robin Williams and that whole crew. I mean,
Dustin Hoffman, played Hook, and Robin Williams played Peter Pan in that version. And
such a great movie.
Jude Law just played Hook. You know what I mean? Like in the new version of Peter Pan, and usually it's like a young person who plays Peter Pan in the movies. But it's just like I did not think about that until after. And I'm so glad I didn't think about it until after, because if I went into it thinking I'm just about to play Peter Pan, and if this turns out good and I'm bad, this could really mess things up for me. And I'm so glad.
No pressure.
No pressure. I'm so glad I didn't think about that, because I would have probably freaked myself out more than I had already freaked myself out going into a lead role. I'd never been a lead in a feature. And so this was my first feature lead. And yeah,
who directed?
So Kip directed.
Okay, directed.
But he co-directed with his longtime collaborator, Derek Wingo, who also played Mr. Smee. And Kip and Derek directed a lot of things together over their careers and are best friends and sort of collaborators and friends. Just like kind of, I'm like Derek version 2.0. Like I like when Derek sort of took a hiatus from making films, and then Kip came out to LA because Kip used to live in New York, and then I met up with him, and then I started collaborating with him on like a friend and collaborator level. And it was so good to see they were so good at co-directing. Like you could tell they're a longtime team. Their creative flow and juices just sort of throw back and forth to each other. And they're so good at like letting one person direct and then taking the reins when the other person needs to be in front of camera. And it was so good. But yeah, man, we'll go into it more here, but it was truthfully and you know me, and if anybody's watched the last episode with us, you know I've been working in entertainment since 1999. I've been working in movies since 2005. So coming up on 20 years working in the movie industry. I have never had a more fulfilling, satisfying, soul cleansing experience than I did working on that movie. It was life changing, like truthfully, and I don't say it, I say it, I understand the weight of what that's saying. It was a life-changing experience. It was amazing. It's what everybody wants when they go to make a movie.
And when you say life-changing, I know you say you're trying to still find the words to articulate it, but generally speaking, like what is it, just the way you view life? Is it something within yourself?
I think that Kip and I have had so many experiences working together over the last 5 years. You know, we worked a lot, so it doesn't seem like a lot of time, but we worked on a lot of shows. 4 years. We worked on like almost 16 movies in the last 4 years, where we never really felt emotionally invested in this, whether it be the story or the production or whatever. And we did our best to try to enjoy those scenarios, but we were never in a position where we could really, one, sink our teeth into anything acting wise, and two, really truthfully believe that it was something that we were meant to be doing. Right? You take work, you do your absolute best, you put your creative foot forward, and we always did that. We always did what we felt was best for the movie, every movie we ever did. But we were always in like sort of that producer position that always had to solve problems and always had to fix all the problems and, you know, dealing with the day-to-day. And so we never really had a chance to emotionally connect to the content. And because we both had lead roles, and we both loved the script, and we both loved the magic of what the IP was, I think it allowed our hearts to open more. And then because of that, things just started to fall into place, and that stress of the stuff that we usually worry about that we don't need to usually worry about just kind of went away. And it became something otherworldly, right? People who were on set, we had a super small crew that helped too. It was so intimate, right? People who were on set for just a couple days would come on set and you could feel it. They could feel it. And they left thinking they were there for weeks. And they sent us messages saying, I was there for 3 days and I felt like I was there for every day. It felt everybody on set had the exact same experience. There was magic happening and it was intangible, but you could feel it. Like you could just feel it. It was magical. It was so incredible. I probably have to set the scene more. You can ask me a question because I know you have one in your head because I can see it.
Well, yeah, I mean, really. So did you guys go to Boston to film this?
Yeah.
Okay, so you go to Boston.
Yeah. So we shot it in Cape Cod.
Okay.
And for me, it's a homecoming, right?
Yeah, you're from there.
I'm from Massachusetts, and I've never worked on a movie in Massachusetts, but I did work on that TV show when I was a kid. So
Zoom.
Yeah, Zoom. So the movie, we brought that movie to Cape Cod. And the reason we brought it to Cape Cod is because one of our other producers, Liam Nelligan, his family, and Liam's a fucking awesome. Sorry, can I swear on this?
Absolutely.
He's an amazing dude. Amazing dude. He's so talented. He works primarily right now in reality TV, but he can pitch anything. He's such an amazing like show pitcher. And he creates these amazing reality docuseries. And he's a writer. He's a narrative writer. He's a musician. He writes music. Like the dude is like an onion. Like every layer he's like a sweet tasting onion, right? The outside layer, you know, he's like this kind of like, he's a New York dude. So he's like kind of like got an edge to him, which is really awesome. But when you start to unfold, you start to see how just he's such a gracious, amazing, like he cares so deeply and so emotionally invested in all the stuff he's in. I love this guy. Hey brother, if you're watching, I love you. His family owns 4 properties in Cape Cod. So he came into the project through Derek. Derek and Liam live in New York. Me and Kip live in LA. So we brought it to Cape Cod because we had the locations. And so the locations, that was just another coincidence. I could go on about this. I don't know how long this podcast is going to be, but I could go on about this movie forever, dude. That's part of the magic, is there were so many coincidences that things just worked out in the exact right way that we had to stop calling them coincidences. It was meant to be. It was so incredible.
It sounds like, I mean, I'm just, again, from what the information I've heard so far, it sounds like, at least from your point of view, and maybe Kip's too, which, yeah, I mean, I don't know him personally, but like from what you've said and the work I've seen from in Rebroken was phenomenal. It seems like like what you said, like you guys are always so focused on doing all this other stuff you got to do. And then, oh yeah, we got to act too. So we go do that real quick. But then this is a chance where you really got to let go and play.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Like you really got to let go of some of that burden, if you will.
Yes.
Or responsibility, and actually let go to the art of it.
I
and
think
maybe remind you why you do what you do. I don't know. That's what it sounds like to me. Sounds like a beautiful experience.
So
like,
well put. That's exactly.
It was almost like a spirit journey, but for actors. Because that's the thing. You are an actor as well. You started as an actor, correct? That's what you began.
That's what
this industry was an actor.
Absolutely. That's what I call myself first. Whenever anybody asks me, I'm an actor. Like you said in our last show, I'm an actor, director, producer. That's in the order I would prefer it to be. So yeah, I'm an actor first.
So it's almost, I mean, do you feel like you really got that experience of like you got reminded of why?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to go on those spirit quests. And those come in multiple forms. That's a whole other conversation. But yeah, you went on this quest, this journey, if you will, to rediscover like, oh yeah.
Absolutely. It was our own Neverland, right? It was like, we went there, we went to Neverland. We were reminded what that sort of childhood spark inside of all of us was. And you're absolutely right. That was so well put. It was me as an actor being able to relinquish the responsibility of what I've been so used to having to do, and really having a lot of content to sink my teeth into, a lot of script, a lot of scenes, a lot of lines, a lot of everything. The whole Playhouse West process was in effect.
All the tools were coming out.
All the tools were coming out. Absolutely. When you see how many weighty scenes there are here, and
I'm sorry, it's a feature, right?
Yeah, it's a feature.
Yeah.
It was absolutely a playground, and it was exactly that. It was a soul cleansing experience. It was a soul rejuvenator. It absolutely reminded me why it is I want to be an actor, and it reminded me truthfully that I can do it, right? Like I had never led, we co-lead basically, me and Kip, and I'd never had that much to do. And the first day was challenging for me mentally. I just had to get out of my own head. But after that, I really settled in and felt so at home in that. And that's that comfortability of just doing it and knowing I'm ready for it and prepared just made me feel like I was doing what I was meant to do. What I'm absolutely born to do is exactly what I was doing. And that's where the soul cleansing part came from. It absolutely re-solidified exactly why I do what I do.
That's beautiful, man. And I think just to tie it into what we're talking about, mid-30s crises and stuff like that, it's like you need those moments to give you that reminder of like, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing this. And this is why it doesn't matter who understands it or not understands it. I understand it.
Yeah.
And I have to keep going.
100%. 100%. And I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you that movie is the reason I'm in the spot I'm in now in terms of like a transformative place. Like it it truthfully changed me. Like things have changed in my personal life, and things have changed just in my sort of approach to what I want to do. Like I don't, anything I do now, I need to make sure that there is a substantial acting role in it for me. Anything I need, because it's what I'm supposed to do, because I rediscovered it's what I'm wasting time if I don't do that. Everything now is so pointed and so clear in terms of what I should be doing next to make sure I'm still doing that. And I'm not going to change too much about my, like, what I've learned how to do in terms of execution. But now it's so pointed that I feel like I had the arrow. I had the arrowhead, and now I've sharpened it. And now when I shoot it, I know what I'm shooting at, right? So the target is there now. And whether it's defined or not, I can see a target, and I've sharpened the arrowhead. So now I know when I shoot, it's probably going to hit close to a target, and boy, is it going to hit. Because it's sharp. And that's what that feels like.
There's a book that is exactly about what you're talking. Gosh, dang it. What is, I have it. It's somewhere.
It'll be the book of the episode.
Well,
if you can figure it out.
I'm going to segue here. The book of the episode, I'm actually gifting to you a copy.
Dude, look, I'm getting all these gifts at this.
It's Christmas. But this does relate to, this book is brilliant. I'm calling it book of the year. I read a lot of books. It's called The One Thing by Gary Keller.
Cool, man. Thank you.
And he basically is talking about, similar to what you're talking about, we get quote unquote busy with all this stuff, thinking, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. He's like, but what's the one thing? What's the one thing you got to do to get to where you're trying to go?
Yeah.
And it's not like one thing for the rest of you, but it's like, what's the one thing today I need to do to get closer to that one goal I'm trying to get to? So it's a great read, man.
I just thought about that today, by the way.
Really?
Truthfully, I'm not making that up. I just thought about that today.
Frequencies, baby. That's
I thought about today, man, I have so much to do and I can never keep my head straight. And I just need to figure out, how do I make it so that every day I have like just 5 things that I know that if I get done today, I can be more pointed tomorrow, right? I can be sharpened for tomorrow.
Yep.
Dude.
Enjoy that on the plane.
Oh, I will. Thank you. That's so nice of you to give that to me.
It's a good one, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But not to derail your story, but
No.
So my question, my follow-up as you're taking me through this journey is, because you're a phenomenal director, and I want to get to your
Thanks.
other I mean, you have so many. I almost need like a board here, like
there should be a monitor here.
a monitor.
Yeah, we just show clips on and
That's
pull
the
up
future.
topics.
That's the future. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're a phenomenal director, and you're really great at that. And I'm sure you have a passion for that as well. But now with this acting reemerging out of you, is directing something you're still feeling a pull at? I mean, it's a multi-part question. Is directing something you're still feeling pulled to do? And on top of that, if you do direct, are you going to have to act and direct? Or would you just prefer to either direct or act and not do both at the same time?
It's a really good question, because I talked about this a little bit today with a friend of mine, and I was like, I feel like the pull right now, that sort of target I was just describing, is the bullseye right now is the acting stuff for sure, right? Because I still feel the effects of what I should be doing, but man, I have like I've been working on a couple of projects that are having some new life where I'm attached to direct that I'm super excited about. I don't know if I talked about my buddy I play hockey with, but he is a phenomenal writer. And him and his writing partner have written this script. It's called The Van, but we've shopped it around town as Mad Van sometimes. And it's an incredible slasher comedy movie about a college debate team that goes driving to state debate championships, and their van gets taken by this crazy hooded figure and takes them to a warehouse, and they have to sort of debate their way out of how to survive.
Holy shit.
It's hilarious, and it's so well written that I've been shopping around that I'm attached to direct, and I am so passionate about directing that one. I see it as my next graduation in my skill level and when it comes to directing. So I just love movies, right? I'm a movie dude. Like I just love movies and I love flicks and I love film, right? Though, you describe those types of movies in three different ways, film, movies, and flicks. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? I love them all and I'm ready to direct all of them. But right now I want to direct this movie called Mad Van or Van or whatever it's going to end up being called because it's so good. And that's a passion that I deeply have. So to answer your question more succinctly, I think it's still an even passion that I'm feeling right now. The pointed focus, the one thing is acting, but it fluctuates. It goes back and forth. It's like, it's two sides of the same coin for me.
Well, and think about this, kind of what you were saying earlier. You're talking about doing those other lives to keep the art going. Your advantage now is like your other life can be a director, which for most, that's the end game. And it's just like, I really want to do acting, but okay, yeah, I'll do some directing stuff to keep. I mean, it's a beautiful, I think, back and forth.
Yeah,
it's taken years to get to that point. That's the thing too.
Yeah, right.
You know,
and I don't want, but that's the thing is, I don't want to discourage anybody saying like that. You have to. It takes years.
Everyone's different.
It's just a passion. If you have a passion for both and you have the energy and the wherewithal to go and stick it out and do both, it could happen. We talked about this on the last episode. The barrier to entry is so low. You can shoot a feature on your phone, which just vibrated behind my back right now. On your phone. And it can literally win you awards at film festivals and you can get jobs off that, or you can just put it on YouTube, which is becoming one of the biggest ad video on demand platforms for feature films. Now, like
YouTube's not going anywhere, man. That's one thing. That's one thing that's clear. It's like that is here to
exactly.
That is a big platform.
So, and I just think about like Playhouse West alums like Sidney Pollack, right? Am I saying his name correctly?
Oh, he's a great person.
And his sort of always acting, always directing type of stuff. He directed and acted in all kinds of stuff. And so it's just that balance of like, well, what's the next project? What's the opportunities? Am I going to take both or am I going to take one or what am I going to do? And what do I feel like I can take on and what do I most connect with? And again, having that sort of sharpened arrow and that sort of target now in terms of what I want and focusing on what's going to fulfill most of that sort of artistic passion in me feels like that is at least the guiding rod or the North Star in terms of the choices I make. So I think I'm going to have to apply that to do I act, direct, or both in any scenario that has an opportunity for all of it. And I think the same for producing. Producing I do as a means to an end. But, if I have an opportunity to only produce something and the script is phenomenal, of course I'm going to only produce it. Of course. And it moves the dial for me emotionally and artistically, then heck yeah, why not?
You're doing it, man. I mean, I don't know how else to like, I was telling Eric before you got here, like you're like that, music person that's been independent for a while that, all the underground knew him.
Yeah.
But then they have that one hit single. Now everyone's, have you heard of blah, 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 blah? Like,
right.
I was telling him like Whiz Khalifa was that for me. Like I was on Whiz Khalifa well into his early mixtapes and stuff, but then he did Black and Yellow.
Yeah.
Got the big record deal. And now he was mainstream. Everyone's like, man, I knew him. But it's like years of work and building, or those book authors that have been writing for years. And then they have that one book that just hits and you go back and you look at their catalog.
Yeah, right.
That's what I foresee with you. It's like you just keep churning out great work, man.
Thanks, dude.
And like I think I said this on one of the last one podcast, but you focus on the work and you squint at success. Basically, you just keep going, and the stuff's just gonna come.
Thanks
for
dude.
you. So it's just interesting listening to you unravel everything. I'm just thinking like, well, dude, you're in Hollywood. Like, you're making feature, not just feature films, but really good feature films. I was watching one before you came over here.
Yeah.
That you just directed.
Yeah.
With some pretty big names.
Yeah. Some good guys.
I don't know if you want to transition into that.
Totally. Yeah. Final Wager, which hopefully is going to be out next holiday season, or maybe sooner. It's kind of like a Christmas heavy movie, but it's kind of like Uncut Gems meets Bad Santa. It's kind of like a dark comedy that's centered around gambling, and it follows this story of Chase. Chance, who basically finds out he can't lose a bet on Christmas Day. Like he's never lost a bet on Christmas Day, so he tries to use that magic to get his mom out of nursing home debt because she's about to get kicked out of her nursing home. And yeah, we got Michael Madsen in it and Tom Arnold in it, and those guys came in to play some parts. And Madsen, I can't talk enough about Madsen. He was phenomenal in that. He is probably the best he's been in anything he's been in recently, aside from the Tarantino stuff. He's so good. He's so solid in it, and he just did such a good job towing the line of like the sort of, he kind of plays like a what's it called, like a gambling counselor, and he does a good job of being like tough love, but also soft in the ways that he needs to be. And man, he's good. He's so good. And I don't know how far you've gotten, but you might not even see, he's got a lot more coming up.
Yeah, I said, like I told you, I got through about the first hour, and then I was skimming through the end to keep. I got to give it justice to actually watch. But what was that like? Directing Michael Madsen?
He was incredible. Like truthfully, we had him for about a day and a half. It was like a 9-day shoot, and we had him for about a day and a half. And the day that we had him was at night, so I was nervous. Like, of course, I mean, I'm about to direct Michael Madsen. And so I grew up watching basically everything he was in. And so that experience freaked me out. I thought I was going to be, I was going through that, what's my self-worth, and my imposter syndrome out the wazoo. I know I'm prepared for the day, but my God, he's about to come in here and I'm going to have to give him notes? Maybe? Like, what am I supposed to say? He came in, he was so kind to everybody. He was telling stories in between takes constantly. And we had a long day. So we had about 30 pages to get through with him in a day. So basically what we did is we shot all of his coverage, and then we went back the next day to get the coverage of everybody else. And we shot everything he was attached to over those 30 pages, and he had some long speeches. He was a pro, man. He came in, he was so good, he was ready, he was like communicating with everybody, he was the nicest guy. He was so gracious, and we worked him to death for 12 hours. I mean, we followed all the SAG rules. We had lunch, but you know what I mean? Like, for the time we had him and the time we paid him for, he was there. And it was one of the best experiences. He was so cool and just so nice, and he crushed it. He crushed it for us big time.
So you're saying he did all of that in 12 hours?
All the stuff
that he's in.
Yeah, well, we had a half day with him.
Well, right.
The stuff you saw at the beginning of the movie where he's like doing his counselor meeting stuff, that was kind of like the half day. But otherwise, yeah, and the phone call stuff was part of the half day. But otherwise, the stuff later in the movie was all one day, and he went to town for us, man. I can't thank him enough. He was so great. Man, people need to hire him more. He was amazing.
2 movies that just instantly stick out for me for him. He's been in so many good ones, but Reservoir Dogs and Hateful Eight.
Yeah, he was great in both of those.
In both of those.
He was great in Kill Bill.
Yeah, oh, well, of course, yeah, duh, Kill Bill, but like any of the Tarantino movies he's been in, but yeah, he just has a
I have a guilty pleasure one, Free Willy. I grew up watching Free Willy.
I don't think I've seen that one.
He played the one with the whale.
Oh, the whale! He was in Free Willy?
He played the foster dad.
Oh, I forgot.
I grew up watching that movie. I was like, oh yeah, Madsen.
Wasn't there like a Free Willy 2 too?
There was a Free Willy 3, and I think there's a Free Willy 4. I think they freed that whale 4 times. I think that whale just probably deserves to be captured.
Oh, it must have been good at the box office.
Because it's just too dumb. He just keeps getting captured. They need to free him all the time, apparently. You just always got to be freeing Willy. Of course, he's incredible in Reservoir Dogs. I mean, that whole scene. We know the scene.
I do. We don't even have to speak of it. Like we both know the scene.
He's so good.
About. Yeah.
He's just so good.
Yeah.
He's just so terrifying and approachable at the same time. He does such a good job of being that, right? That sort of scary yet likable. That's his thing, man. He does that to a T all the time. He's so good at it.
Well, was it they say in acting, like there's some actors that, like a Daniel Day-Lewis can transform, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's some actors that play themselves. Yeah. And I hope I'm not misinterpreting this, but he seems like one of those actors that he is him.
Yeah,
on the screen.
Yeah,
You know?
I feel like he does a good job of like, he knows what he's good at and he does it great.
Right.
But he's so versatile. Like he's got like the stuff that he did that was softer in our movie really like came through so nicely. Like he really connects so well with who he's working with. And I know the actors felt it, and he was there giving them performances on the other side of the camera for the stuff that we were connected to. He was there for them, and he gave them all kinds of stuff to work off of when he was on the other side of the camera. And it was just so incredible to watch. He's so versatile, and I don't think he gets enough work for that other side of him, and he should, because there's that side of him is who he really is. Like he really is that sort of welcoming, open, conversational type guy who loves to tell stories and loves to talk to people and super like connected with people. And he doesn't get to show that side of him because that's the actual real side of him. He's such a wonderful person. And but he does such a good job of being the tough guy that's what he gets cast at. And it's part of like that sort of being cast into a box in a way. So I hope as he gets into his older years too, gets that ability to be able to show that side of his range because he's really good at it.
How did that come about, him being in the film?
We had a connection to him, I think, through a mutual manager. So we reached out to the manager and said, we think Mattson would be perfect for this role. And, it just takes a lot of time and a lot of energy to sort of keep that communication going, and it takes money, but luckily we had a decent, Rebroken proved that we could do something good. So those same investors and Scott, who's the lead in it, brought his investing team back in, and we proved that we can make a really good movie for a very small budget. So they gave us a little bit more money, and we proved that we can make a better movie for a little bit more budget. And I'm excited for people to see it because we upgrade the look and we upgrade the cast and we upgrade the story. And
you know what? It's fun. That's one thing as I'm watching
it's fun.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's just fun.
It's just a fun Christmas movie.
That has an edge.
Yeah, but it it's not like a Hallmark movie, but it has the same thing. Oh, it's Christmas time type movie, but like, yeah, it does. It has that. It's like, oh, well, no, this isn't a Hallmark movie.
No, right? Yeah.
This is pretty cool. Like,
it's like how you go to a department store like Macy's or something, and they've got it all decked out for Christmas, but underneath it's just all business. That's kind of like there's like an edge to it. It's just like it's like having it's got like it's like Christmas with a razor
like
blade.
Uncut Gems, like you said.
Yeah,
yeah.
Exactly. It's edgy a little bit. Yeah.
So congrats on that. Tom Arnold, of course.
Tom Arnold was in it too. Yeah. He was great. I mean, he's in it for a little bit, and he came in and he was there for a half day as well. But so we got all the scripted stuff, and then he just went for it. We just said, okay, I was like, okay, just go whatever. Say whatever you want in this take. And it was like one of his close-ups or whatever. And he was so funny. We like some of his like best lines that we have in the cut are from him just riffing. And so it worked out so nice. He was such a nice guy too. Like really, I didn't get to spend a lot of time with him like I did with Mattson because he was only there for like 3 hours. But he was really incredible. Really incredible. Wow. Really nice guy as well. Just came in, just really nice to everybody, did his job, and went home like a pro.
And you don't make an appearance in this one, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any.
Because like when I see you're directing,
I do voice stuff in it.
Oh, you do some voice stuff?
Yeah, I do some
I'm
voice
always
stuff.
waiting to like kind of like the Where's Waldo, like
or the
like,
Hitchcock moment.
Where's your Hitchcock moment? Where's Kenny gonna make?
There's
a
always
cameo
that
in
weird like Hitchcock like
in Rebroken you had a role.
Yeah.
Pretty. It wasn't like I wouldn't call it super small role. Like it was a decent
it was
amount.
fine.
Yeah. But like I remember you told me during that one like how you were. What was it? You had the camera on the floor. Like you had notes.
Yeah, there was a monitor on the floor while I was literally doing my scene. So when like I would work in moments where I would be like, thinking, so I'd be able to go like this. Yeah. And like I could just watch the screen while I'm reacting to somebody else saying something. It was very strange. But yeah.
Wow,
but nothing like that in this one. No, but I'm excited for everybody to see it. We definitely upgraded everything across the board on this one, and I did a lot of visual effects work on my own, and I edited it as well this time. So
it's really good acting. And the lead, and it's Scott. You said he was the same one in Rebroken.
Yes,
right. He's really good, man. Like he's really. It's funny. Like it's funny. The more movies I'm watching of you guys, you Kip and Scott together, like it's kind of like those guys, Happy Gilmore's crew or Seth Rogen's crew. Like you get used to these characters, which and you you look forward to seeing them in different stuff.
Yeah, I love what like the guys like Broken Lizard do, you know, the Super Troopers guys who
Oh.
they also do Beer Fest and and Mark Duplass, who always hires like his people who he likes, and you know, I like that idea of, and we talk about it all the time at Playhouse West too, finding your tribe and just starting to do
you
things.
found a tribe, man.
Yeah, and you just do things.
Super Troopers and Beer Fest, man. Those are two movies, dude. Like, I have specific memories.
Yes.
I probably shouldn't even share this. It's not too bad, but in college, a buddy and I, it was a Friday afternoon. He drove from his college to mine. I say, dude, we're getting some beer and we're going to watch Beer Fest.
Yes.
And that led to debauchery. I won't even go into any of that, but
no, we can go into it. But I saw it in theaters, and me and my friends went across to a hotel that was across the street from the theater, and we got sloshed.
It made you want to drink. Like, it made you want to drink beer.
And
Even if you didn't like beer, it made you want to drink beer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then we went to the theater. We were hammered, and we were like, oh, man, we're going to be the only ones here that are hammered. And no, everybody was hammered at the movie. And it was just like, this is okay, this is an experience. This is what you want, right? Whether it's around drinking or not, right? This is what you want everybody
Creating
in the
a
theater
culture.
to be feeling that in that moment, so that when they watch the movie, it's a thing together, right? That was exactly what we did. I'll admit, I did it more than once. I got hammered and went and saw that movie more than once.
I walked in my dorm room, my roommates chugging bottles of water. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm practicing. He'd be like, seeing how fast he could chug. I'm practicing for tonight. Like, we're gonna get some DOS boots, and we still to this day say Frost or we say it Frost. We said it wrong.
Yeah.
Are you frosting beers? Like, yeah, I'm frosting a couple.
Yeah, you gotta turn the boot, man.
It's all from Beer Fest.
Yeah,
Dude,
it's so good.
And it led into like the tailgate the next day doing beer bongs at the, I mean, dude, it was just pure. I think back to those days. I'm like, I am lucky to be here. Like,
Yeah,
We're not that drunk.
Yeah, right. We're not that drunk. So good.
And like
I'm
we just
watching that tonight. I got a voiceover session tomorrow, so I can't have too much tonight, but I'm watching it
I
tonight.
remember like we would just be downing beers and like yeah, Beer Fest, and like it was just him and I too. This was before anyone had gotten there that night.
Yeah.
It was like he arrived like he had like early Friday class and he got to me by like 1 or 2 in the afternoon and we just start doing it, man. It was,
It's so good.
That's
That's so good. Nowadays, I need 2 days of recovery time, but I would do it.
I'd be in the hospital instantly.
Maybe we should just have a special Sam Dever podcast when you get the monitor up. We'll just watch Beer Fest and we'll commentate the whole thing and we'll just see what happens.
So Super Troopers, Beer Fest, Wedding Crashers. Oh,
Old school.
Those are
Super Bad.
Those
Super Bad. So Super Bad and Wedding Crashers are 2 movies.
yeah.
I can specifically remember crying and my stomach hurting, laughing hard in the theater.
Oh yeah. The Hangover was one for me too.
Hangover.
That whole sequence of like just crazy good comedies, which are so sad now the way the movie industry is. You know, I mean, the pendulum swinging back to sort of, well, that was something I was hoping we talk about too. The pendulum swinging back to the independent side of things, right? It's starting to.
Yeah.
Like big companies, big studios are realizing they can't keep spending millions and millions of dollars on tentpole movies anymore. They have to diversify their portfolio. So, you know, a bunch of studios have announced, like smaller studios have announced their micro or medium budget branches again. Like Plan B just announced that they're going to be doing stuff. So it's just like that pendulum's starting to swing. So, and comedies suffered drastically. They used to make, you know, a whole bunch of comedies every year, and every now and, you know, and 1 would hit or 2 would hit or 3 would hit, whatever. But now it's like they make 6 comedies that go to movie theaters a year, which is nothing. There used to be like 60, you know, and now it's nothing.
And you know what? And I won't even go too far in either direction on this, but like, it's like people shouldn't be afraid to make certain things, but I think so many people are afraid I can't do this or say that,
Yeah.
or else I'm going to get blackballed.
No, yeah, totally.
From here. But it's like, man, some of the best stuff ever is when people just let it fly.
Absolutely.
And I think there's a way to do it. I think, yeah, there's some things you shouldn't go there.
Yeah.
But there's some things it's like, I got to use Super Bad for an example. I don't even know if they could do this today or not, but man, the scene where I lost it, probably because I did this when I was a kid, is when he drew the dicks.
Oh.
And it goes through the musical montage
Of all the pictures?
of all the different dicks and like
Yeah,
the
right.
artistic dicks and like penises everywhere.
Super detailed ones. So good.
And to this day, man, the line at where Jules is like, he's like, you're drunk, Jules. She's like, no, I don't drink. He's like, no, you're drunk. He's like, I just wanted you to drink so you'd like me. And I just took myself back to that time.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Yeah, that's how I used to think too.
It's good when you can do the comedy stuff, but also hit on those emotional beats that everybody suffers through. And
Teenagers and early, like,
that sort of
20s
coming of
kids,
age stuff and realizing
Yeah.
that's not the stuff that's important. And I love those movies. I wish there could be more of those movies today. It's just kids need, young adults need those things to sort of laugh and then maybe get those emotions out, or at least feel a little bit of that stuff. They don't feel any of that stuff. I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm just not. I know where they're watching stuff, these days. I just would be nice if that stuff existed for this generation too. Just having those transformative comedy movies that everybody goes to the theaters to see, and you just you talk about it until you're 40 in your mid 30s or whatever, right? And it's crazy.
Well, and you know what? Now that I'm thinking, and I could be wrong, but I bet if I had Seth Rogen here, if we were talking to them, I think they were just making stuff they wanted to make.
Yeah.
I don't think and of course, I'm sure they wanted to have careers and make money, but I think they honestly were making hilarious stuff that they thought was hilarious.
Absolutely.
Like Pineapple Express, like movies like they were just making.
And that goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of this too. It's
Yeah.
like you have to follow at the end of the day, whether the money comes or not. If you've chosen to follow yourself in terms of your passion and what you want to do, make the rest of it work. Choose what you want to do, and then whether it comes or not, at least you'll feel like you've gotten rich off of the art.
I was listening to a podcast. They were talking about, are you doing it for clicks or are you doing it for the art?
Mm-hmm.
And that hit home because it can be, especially in today's world where it can be proven formulas like, look, you just do this, this, and this, and you can make a bunch of money. And
Absolutely.
And I was having this conversation with Eric earlier, and an ongoing conversation I have with him is, I think there's a line like, okay, hey, you can change some thumbnails or change some titles here and you get more people. It's marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it. But then there's that line where it's like, okay, now I'm just doing something ridiculous just to try to get eyeballs. When even if you get eyeballs on you, you're going to have to keep doing ridiculous stuff to keep
Sure.
those people. And
Right.
I'm not about that. I'd rather just go the long route
totally.
and just do what you want to make.
Yeah,
You know what
totally. I mean, and you can do the algorithm game for something else, and let that be what supports your art, your passion, right? Why not? You can do, if you know how to do that, or you can figure out how to do that, and it's maybe close to what you want to do. Sure, do it. Do the clicky thing. Do the algorithm thing. Do it. Make the money off the faceless YouTube channel where you're posting videos of fireplaces with free music under it, and it gets 1 million views a month or whatever. Fine, do it. Let it supplement what gives you emotional and soulful fulfillment. Emotional and soulful riches. Chase that money so that you can use it to supplement your soulful money, the money of your soul, right? That stuff.
Soulful money. I like that.
Soul money.
This episode is going to be titled like the revitalization of the soul or discovery, something like that.
Kenny gets his groove back.
I'm sorry, I got to mention Dumb and Dumber. I have to throw that movie.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
But that was like before those other ones.
That was
true.
Oh yeah,
That's true. That's true. You're right.
It is fantastic.
That's part. At least for me personally, like I will be quoting that till the day I die.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
I'll be in my 70s, 80s, whatever, saying big gulps, huh? Well, see you later.
What's the soup du jour? It's the soup of the day. I'll have that.
Pull over. No, it's a carnigan, but thanks for noting. Seabass said that?
Yeah, right.
Well, if that fellow over there.
And he goes like this. That's how we're gonna end this, by the way. It's gonna be us just doing Dumb and Dumber quotes. And we're just going to fade out. Good Petey. Good little Petey.
Well, Eric, tell him the story about, well, dude, I think we've already told it, but for context here, the way him and I
I'm
truly
having one of these chocolates, by the way. They've been sitting here the whole show.
The way Eric and I like really connected for this podcast is because he came over here to drop off a wheelchair he had borrowed from Eric Jorgensen next door. But what was the wheelchair for?
It was for Halloween. I was Petey, and I was, the pretty bird. So I did that at a party, and it was a big hit, but I had to drop it off, and he wasn't home. I'm like, this is the only time I can drop this off. I'm like, Sam, do you mind if I do this? And he's like, doing a podcast. He's like, I had some cameras set up. I'm like, oh, I do this, and then
a year later, here we are.
Wow. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy how that stuff works? Like we talked about in the last thing too. It's like you see some opportunities, you take them, and where it leads you, and what it leads to next. And
right.
Well, like and then you preach a lot about that opportunity. Like you preach about because you're a testament to like, hey, I took these opportunities and look, led me to other opportunities.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really what a lot of things are, man. It's just opportunity. But so many people, I think, can get caught up in, well, I'm too good for that, or that's not what I really want to do. But I guess you got to see big picture, and you have to. Well, you said like with the Bullseye. I believe the book's called Bullseye, by the way. The other book.
Wow,
I was
weird.
trying to think of. But yeah, and one thing I know you guys are both flying. Just idea if you're looking for some idle plane time. I took a notebook with me, and on the plane ride back recently, back from the Midwest, because it's like I like planes because your phone's off. It can be like a quiet meditation. And like,
yeah.
I literally wrote out like, what do I want to, like, what do I want in life? Like, what is it? I've never really taken the time to like, it's always been but like actually writing down, what is it I want to do? Like, what are the things I want to do?
Yeah.
What do I believe in? What do I not want to do? And that's really given me some clarity. And it's also set boundaries.
Totally.
So when certain things come up, I can actually go like, is that in line with, you know what? By me doing this does kind of put me in the same direction or around that energy as we talked about earlier. Then there's some things I'm like, no, this makes zero sense. This takes me away from everything that I'm trying to do. Why would I do that?
Yeah. To have that pointed direction is a great way. And writing down, people swear by that. People, and I need to do that more. I'm so bad at writing things down. But the things I have written down or I've said out loud that I want have happened. Right? That people swear by that idea that you write something down and within a year, you're either on that path or you can see it so much more clearly. Like in what you're doing is you're basically putting it out to whatever your guiding star is, whether it's your God, whether it's your spirit, whether it's your universe, whatever you feel is guiding your spirit. They hear it and they take it into account and they put you in places to see the opportunities. You're never going to just get it, right? If you ask for, well, I want to be working in movies and I want it by the end of the year, you're going to have an opportunity to take something that might be a PA job on a movie. And if you take it, that could lead to an acting role. That could lead to it could lead to a directing role. It could lead to anything, truthfully. And we talked about on the last thing too. I wanted to direct a feature. If I did not take what was initially offered to me as an extra role or maybe a PA role on a movie called Reboot Camp, where I met Kip Tribble, I wouldn't have directed the two features I directed. Period. Wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have met him. And if I didn't meet him, I wouldn't have worked on the 14, 15 movies I've worked with him on, which wouldn't have paid my bills. Like those movies paid my bills for the last 4 years. Easily, without a doubt. Some of them paid far less bills, but some of them paid a lot more bills. But they also put me in a place to where I have a lot of producing credits. I've got a lot more experience than I did 4 years ago, and I directed 2 features in that time too. So, right? So if you write things down, and people say that you write things down, your guiding spirit guide, whatever that thing is for you, is going to give you opportunities. You have to realize that you have to take them. They're not going to be like, I want to direct. You're not all of a sudden going to get a directing job. You're going to get an assistant job to a producer who has a first-time director who's also going to need some help working on something while you work on the producer thing, right? Or you're going to get a PA job, and the director's going to be like, hey, I was a PA. And you're going to have a conversation with that director, and all of a sudden that director becomes your mentor, and he becomes the guy that, or the woman, or who guides you and points you in the right direction and tells you everything you need to know. And all of a sudden, 4 years later, you're directing something because they gave you all that guidance because you took that PA job. That's what you're going to be given. You just have to realize that that's the path, and you have to walk it. You have to take it. And it takes time, but it'll be there. And that's the trick. That's the literal trick. Write it down. You'll be given opportunities. Take the opportunities. It's only 3 things, everybody. It's only three things. Sam Dever Podcast.
And on that energy, as we get to that was brilliant, my friend. I think that's a perfect. You know, I didn't want to interrupt you and tarnish it, but when you were saying for some reason, like Walk the Line came in my head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then the spinoff, Walk Hard.
Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna walk.
I'm gonna walk
hard. Get out of here, Dewey. You don't want no part of this shit. Now I'm in movie mode.
You're
like
talking
now
to spoof guy. Yeah. That's where I got my start.
That's true. You did. Dude, those spoofs they're so good. They're so funny.
They're great.
Get out of here, Dewey. You don't want no part of this shit. I won't go any further with that one, but no, that's so brilliant, man, dude. You have such great energy, man.
Thanks, man.
Before we round out here, anything else you wanted to bring up, or at least with the current projects, the Peter Pan movie, the Christmas movie, any specifics people need to know right now? You said, I know that this is going to be coming out January of 2024.
Yeah, right.
So,
we are going to start an Indiegogo campaign for the post-production of Before Never, which is the Peter Pan movie. The movie, we got some pretty amazing footage, and I truthfully, personally feel really, really proud of the acting stuff I did. I think it's the best acting work I've ever done. And I really think this movie can have some real solid festival chops once we finish making it. So we're going to do a small campaign to raise some extra funds to make sure that the post-production goes as best as it can for all the people involved. So, you know, keep an eye out for that. If this comes out in January, it's probably coming out around then or in February after the holidays are over. So, follow us on Instagram for that movie in particular, Before Never. And if possible, follow me on Instagram, and because that's where I'm most communicative. And I want to make sure that it's nice and clear on this podcast and for whoever's watching and listening. Follow me on Instagram and send me a message. If you want to work in anything that we're doing and you're game for being involved in a project that is, you know, bootstrap, what is it called when you like bootstrapping your budget? When you're doing a lot of work, you will be right next to all of the creative work happening. If you want to get started, if you're looking to get started, or you have some ability and some skill as a crew member, and you want to come in and be a crew member and also be an actor maybe, that's how we do it. We like to bring people into the experience. We like to promote from within. We like to we gave our camera guy, one of our just B camera operators became my DP and my friend for the 2 movies I directed. This is what we like. So I want to make sure it's nice and clear here for all the people who are Playhouse West people, who are actors who like, I want to be working in movies so I can get more acting opportunities. Message me on Instagram and we will find something for you to work on. And we always pay our people. It's not like we're asking you, you're not going to get not paid. But if you really want to hustle and do put your money where your mouth is and get to work and do the job, and like Wolf says, get it done, message me. I'm open. Just let me know what you want to do. And it's open to anybody, truthfully. I'm an open book.
It's an incredible opportunity, folks. I don't know too many people, if I've ever heard anyone say what you just said.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, you know, but you're right. Like with social media,
that's where
people are accessible.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and you have a great body of work.
Thanks, man.
And your team. So for anyone listening or watching that, what Kenny just said, you want to get involved with something, and not only just get involved, but get involved with proven players.
Yeah, we're always looking for people who are hungry. Slide
in the DMs.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Same Dever podcast. Now, the Christmas movie you said, so that's not going to come out.
Most likely, we'll see. We'll see. We got a distribution deal.
Okay.
We're working out the details. We're getting all the deliverables finished. So at this point, we're almost there. We're almost done. So it's probably not going to happen for this Christmas, this holiday season. But it could come out in the middle of the year because it's more than just a Christmas movie.
True.
So we can make it happen middle of the year, and it'll be out definitely for next holiday season.
Okay.
And it's called Final Wager.
Spectacular, man. Spectacular. And I'm going to do something a little different here, putting all of us on the spot here. I know you already did it on the Instagram stories, but now you're a little more prepared.
Yeah.
If we could just go around the room here.
Yeah.
What I should have prepared more for this.
Well, I'll talk about mine then.
What's the biggest thing you learned? And I'll go too. What's the biggest thing you learned in 2023 that you are going to apply into your 2024?
Absolutely.
Because I don't believe I said the New Year's resolution thing. I believe you start things when they start. It doesn't have to be on January 1st. So,
yeah. I know I'm carrying what we talked about into it. That's sort of a pointed focus on what I want to do for projects that are look, I need money. I always need to work, but I'm going to figure out something to do that gets me where I need to be financially so that I can make more choices that are based on my heart than my brain, and follow that through as strictly and as I can, and be as truthful to that as I can, and at least find something that I can be passionate about in that project that follows my heart more, and let that lead me down more acting roles, and let that sort of drive me to be more truthful with what I want in general. That was the big takeaway from this last project. I need to be more truthful to myself about what I really, really want. Because if I'm not truthful to that, I'm just spinning my wheels for somebody else's life. Somebody else's life I'm trying to figure out. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm trying to figure out what I really want and be as truthful to that as possible in my career and my personal life.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Eric, how about you?
Putting it out there, making it known, so to speak, especially with the people that you're working with, and then seeing where that takes you. Because it'll be just saying that I wanted to direct and that I had aspirations to, and then like that led to directing opportunities for me. And so it's like, oh shit, that's a good thing to do. It's like there was positive outcome from that, which is reassuring. And I think the second thing is like I've just learned a lot more about the movie making process, I would say. So I want to keep doing that, like learning the color, learning the full edit, learning directing better, learning more DP type related things, and just because I said at the end of last year, I'm like, I want to do more camera work than I did sound work, and this year I did. I did that. Yeah. So we're doing it. So it's like, okay, so let's just keep that going. I'm learning more about sound design and coloring right now. So it's like, I want to be able to be a full machine so I can, start with these small scale things like shorts, but like be able to do anything on a short. Be
Absolutely.
able to do anything on a film. So just keep working towards that, and obviously putting efforts towards acting. But yeah, really any of it. Like I'm open to it all. Like I'm not so hard set that it's got to be just acting. So I do want to put some energy towards acting because I feel like I've been a little afraid of that. Putting myself out there for that, but it's okay if it's not all just acting. Like if it is just a directing thing or a camera gig and it's helping me learn more about the movie making process, then I'm all about it.
Well said, man. That's great.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Amazing.
And you've done that too this year too.
I have, and it's really cool, but it's a lot of times you kind of don't pay that much gratitude towards it. You don't look back and reflect, like, oh crap, look, you said you were going to do that and you're doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like, keep it going.
Keep it going.
Yeah, keep the engine going.
Yeah. Nice.
And I have to give Eric his professionalism and skill level and creativity has made it an absolute joy working with him on
Without
this
a doubt.
project, man. Like it's what was it, the Joker, the Heath Ledger Joker? You complete me.
You complete me.
What would I do without you?
Yeah, right. What would I do without you? So good.
But no, man, Eric, you're so phenomenal, Eric. And then, I mean, Kenny, your energy, so great. And then for me, 2023, I think the lesson I learned, and how do I say this? I think I've been humbled, and I mean that in the best of ways. In my mind, and I'm just going to go, there's a bunch of life things I could go off of outside of here, but I think I'll keep it to this project. Like, I go into the mind frame like, okay, I do this, shoot at high quality, bring on good guests, just put it out there. It's just going to grab momentum and go, baby. Look, it's grown.
Yeah.
It's a slow process, but I think I've been humbled because it's one of those things where, especially now, there's so much content. There's so many other people doing so many incredible things, and you can only watch so many things in a day. I think me going into 2024, it's like, okay, it forcing me to like, hey, just doing great work and putting out a good product and posting it to the internet is not enough. What are you going to do now?
Right.
How are you going to market this? And really marketing's a lot of my background too. It's like, how can you create, I'm rereading the book Purple Cow by Seth Godin right now. And it's like, what are you doing differently that are going to make people watch this? That are going to make people click it? And not we're talking about clickbait, but it isn't pure clickbait. Like, what's different that people are going to tune in and be like, you know what? I want to hear more of these conversations. I want to hit that subscribe button. I want to start listening to full 2-hour episodes. And I realize that that's a huge commitment. And I think the humbled part comes from like when we're creators, you have this expectation.
Sure. Of what you're doing.
Well, I put all this work into it.
So somebody,
and I did this. Right. So, people need it, but it's like, no, man, no one owes you anything. No one owes you anything and anything. So I think for me, 2023 was great as far as like willing to build the product. But now it's like in 2024, what are you going to do to not only continue to build it, but to really get people interested?
Scale it.
There you go.
Yeah. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, we did.
With McDonald's, right? Like that sort of scalability. What's next? Yeah. What's the next level of growth? And that's the thing too, is it's like, as long as you're getting that artistic money, that soulful money from it, that what we talked about, that sort of soul filling stuff, how do you plan out the next couple of years growth periods and just know that those are the growth periods, and what's going to scale that growth and what gives you the most growth over that period, and start leaning into those elements of the show. Like, what is that? Is that lining up different guests that sort of click a couple more like marketing boxes? Or what is that thing for the Sam Dever podcast? That'd be interesting to flesh out.
And I'll just give you a quick teaser.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get the last word. We're about to wrap.
Okay.
But we're doing events in 2024, baby.
Yeah.
More to come.
Events?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're going to do an event. Well, we got to start with one, but I have a vision to do. But
that's a great idea.
We're doing events. I'm thinking first one, we're going to do it in a park. We're going to have like 4 mics set up.
Nice.
And it's just going to be like a rotation. Whoever just wants, it's going to be an episode.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
But it's an event. But if I say, oh, Kenny's over here, Kenny, want to stop by and
totally
chat for a few? And,
I'll be there.
Yeah. Have a book exchange.
Heck yeah. I'll be there. I'll be there.
So, but Kenny, thank you so much. Eric, thank you so much to you, because I know we're about to go and do the holidays. You guys are both going home.
Hold on.
You got the podcast hat. Kenny, where can people, I know you already shouted your Instagram. Is that the place to go for you?
That's the place to go. I communicate mostly through that for people and for work and all that stuff. You can, you can check me out on my Instagram. It's got a link to my official website, which has a link to my official email, and all that stuff. So any of those spots.
Sounds great. Last word is yours, sir.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on again. This is the type of podcast I wanted to have the first time. We were very serious the first time.
Yeah.
And this is the one that I wanted.
Oh, this was great.
And I'm so glad that you got your merch. And in January, I don't have any projects you can watch that are new, but you can watch Rebroken. And then we'll see where Final Wager is in January. But Happy New Year, brother.
Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year,
Happy New Year,
Happy New Year, guys.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Into 2024, baby.
2024.
Sam Dever Podcast.
Sam Dever Podcast.
Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Sam Dever Podcast. Be sure to follow us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you watch the podcast, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@the Sam Dever Podcast.